All right, so we're gonna put together the tail group assembly. This is page 23, and we're gonna first start with the tail case and get the Bellcrank base mounted on. This mounts in this orientation with the knobby side downwards. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this upside down, and this is a 1.5, so it's a small bolt, the 1.5 driver or M2 bolt with a 1.5 head, and we're gonna snake this through and start threading this in. Okay, hand tight. We'll get the other screw, blue Loctite, through the hole into the mounting screw, and here we go. Okay, give it a little quarter turn or eighth turn snug, and there we have it. Okay, we're gonna move forward and get our belt on. So one of the things I like to do is the belt usually has some type of letters, designation, something on it, some writing on it, and I like that writing to be the proper way. So I'll look and see which way this turns. Okay, this turns clockwise with the head, so I will need to have a twist like this, which means to keep the letters. This is all just BS. We don't need to do any of this stuff. All right. So once you get your belt, what you want to do is just kind of create a loop on one end. We're going to slide the belt through. We're going to put the pulley on the belt. Just be mindful which way the set screw goes. It goes on this side, the side of the tail fin. So we're going to put it like that. I'm going to just line this up. Okay. And we're going to take our tail shaft here from the previous video. We're going to slide that assembly through. And what you want to do is this hole, you just want to turn this until you see the dimple mark. So you see how it's silver there, and then it turns black. Well, that black part is because it dimples in. It's machined out for it. So we're going to get the set screw. It's a 1.5 tiny little set screw. I hate these tiny screws, but it is what it is. I'm gonna get a good glob of Loctite on it. This is one part where excess is, in my opinion, warranted. So we'll get that. Okay. Once you start screwing it in, what I usually do is I kind of like wiggle the this back and forth just a little, just to kind of get it seated in like the center of it. All right, give it a nice snug and pull out the driver, and now we have our belt tail group assembly. Next, we're gonna build up the bell crank. This is quite easy. We're gonna the bearings just need to be in here. It doesn't look like it needs to be Loctited. There's a spacer, a bushing spacer, and then the other bearing, flange bearings. Okay. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna build the rest of the belt crank setup here. Okay, bolt goes all the way through to the top. Actually, before I put that on, I'm gonna put on the ball, and that's calling for a little 1.5 driver, M2 screw. This is gonna go downwards on here, and then the ball's gonna go on. So I'm gonna put a dab of green. I'm gonna start hand screwing this ball on, and then the 2 mil on the other side, and we'll give it a snug tight. Okay, driver, hex driver on there. I'm gonna put a dab of green Loctite all the way at the tip of this because I don't want it to get into the bearings. All right, and I'm gonna screw this in snug. We'll move this over, and you'll see that on the pitch slider here, there's 2 marks. I want to get one of those in between, and we'll get the 1.5 mil. Okay, grab one of these tail pins. I am gonna put some Loctite on the hole. Actually, I'm gonna put it on the bolt here. The threads are on the side, so you want to make sure you don't get Loctite really on the pin portion, just on the top portion there. So you see the pin just on the threads. Now I'm going to clean this off a little, it's too much. Okay, so while holding this together, I'll start getting the pin in, start screwing the pin in, and get the pin to go between the 2. Okay, snug that down, flip it over, grab the other pin, so I have plenty of Loctite on my finger, so we'll get a nice coat on there, and we'll pin the other side, the top portion. Okay, snug it down, put the tail fin on, and then we will be done with the tail group assembly. Tail fin has stickers, so let's get those going. So I just like to take the stickers off and start from the bottom, get that matched up, tack it down, tack the rest of the sticker down, and do a final squeegee press to really make sure that it adheres. Okay, it's easier when it's on the table. Alright, firm press down. These stickers are just kind of flick at it until I get the sticker. Alright, this whole thing came off this time. Let me just get the 2 parts I need. A lot of times if it's a small sticker, you can put it on the end of a driver and then use that to line it up. Okay. And then we're going to just bolt this onto the side right here. Some blue Loctite. These are M2.5, so M2 driver. Make sure you always put Loctite. Alright, we're going to now move on to the tail boom assembly, and we're going to put the boom together. So one of the things that I do to be able to push this through the boom is you can use a hook and a long wire. I just use a zip tie. So I take a zip tie, put it through, right, just put it through, just kind of close off that one end. So what I found is, got this from Dan Renane, he does this as well. And what I find is that when you're deciding to belt through the boom, often this starts to expand, and when it expands, it gets stuck and gets wrapped around and you can't get it in there. Okay, and we're going to get also bag number 24. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to slide your carbon rod support onto there, and then there's a long 2mm screw. Take your 1.5 hex driver, and you're going to drive it through this side to this side. And what this does is it creates a clamp. Okay, onto the boom. So we're going to slide the belt through the boom. Okay, take the side that has the zip tie and just start sliding it down. helps to have use gravity to kind of help it. Okay, I'm gonna slot that in. I'm gonna go to the other side, and it came out. Pull on that. Okay. We have these tiny screws in the back. We're gonna use a blue Loctite on these and get them seated in. Oops, too much on that bolt. Make sure the hole lines up. Okay, one side. Okay, two side. Crank it down a little. Crank it down a little. Okay. And now your tail boom assembly is complete. We still have the tail control rod to do. And then as far as this, just slide it right off.